Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Proud Empire here in the desert to take on the Lizardmen. We've got old Mazdamundi there up on his Stegadon, so let's go ahead and have a look quickly at the builds here. I've got the Templehof Luminarch, currently going to be dodging some shots from these two Skink Priests, Lore of Beasts up on the long-range Stegadons there. We've also got Karl Franz leading the Royal Altdorf fights on horseback. I have him on the non-barded warhorse, so he can keep up with the Altdorf fights. Got Empire Knights out to the flanks, whole bunch of state troops, warrior priests in the center with two great swords as well. Jade Wizard, of course. And for my opponent, also has quite a few Pterodon riders. These are the Fire Leech Bolas. Got four of them flying in from the flank. Of course, Mazdamundi up on the Stegadon with the other two, as we mentioned, and Cold One Spear Riders with the line of Skink cohort. So a pretty narrow, heavy, monster Lizardman build. Mazdamundi, if we look at his spells here, Apotheosis, just Apotheosis, so looking to summon some Manticores here with the two Skink Priests. Both have Transformation of Kadon, so four total possible Manticores if Mazdamundi can just provide them regeneration here. So, got to see what he was going for, even if it is a little bit cheesy in my opinion, but who am I to call it cheesy? You can see the Fire Leech Bolas flying in from the flank here, doing a ton of damage to these Empire State troops. Brutal stuff as they just get absolutely exploded. It's going to do a lot of HP damage, not a ton of kills yet, but actually some pretty solid kills. That being said, the Templehof Luminarch starting to open up shots on Mazdamundi as the Stegadons are focused on it, so it's taking some damage, but I am able to dedicate some healing into it. You can see the Empire Knights charging into the front line here, doing some good damage to the Skinks. Likewise, Altdorf fight's going to come in with Karl Franz and try and take out one of these Skink Priests here, because I don't want this happening as much as I can. We've got a Feral Manticore now being summoned up in the back line. You can see the Templehof Luminarch getting bum rushed by the Pterodon Riders just to tie it down in melee. Looks like they did take some damage from something. I don't know if they got point blank shot by that or what, but yeah, I don't want to lose the Templehof Luminarch, so I'm going to try and pull it away there, and I'm also dumping a regrowth there as well. As the great swords rush in, my opponent's going to drop an excellent banishment here in the center pocket, going to do a ton of damage to these state troops, and the monster mash is getting pretty real. That being said, I've got still some infantry out on the flanks, and the Empire Knights, where they're matched up against the Skinks without the monsters, will do very well here. Meanwhile, another group of Empire Knights, I'm going to swing back into the back line to push away these Pterodon Riders so I can free up the Templehof Luminarch here to try and pop some shots on Lord Mazdamundi. You can see he came into the back line here and got a little bit caught out. Now, Karl Franz and the Altdorf fights are going to follow up and get some good shots in on him. You can see the Stegadons firing there. Ooh, a nasty Ruination of Cities does cut through quite a few of those state troops, but likewise also routes off one unit of Skinks there, so a bit of give and take. We're going to try and pull back the Altdorf fights there if we can. Franz now finishing off this enraged summoned Manticore there. Should be able to swat it down, maybe, or it might just degenerate. Come on, Franz, you got it. Nope, just getting stagger locked. Another shot from the Templehof Luminarch just about finishes off Mazdamundi there. He's going after this warrior priest, which is a bit unfortunate for him, but I'm feeling pretty good about my odds so far. Empire Knights just kind of chilling back at the moment. We're waiting for some troops to rout off so that I can potentially, chase them or just charge some exposed units. Down here, Lord Mazdamundi with the Cold-Blooded trying to sustain, does get another shot from the Templehof Luminarch there as it's just getting swarmed by Pterodons once again. Another Summon Manticore in the back line having to be fended off by Empire Knights and some reserve Spearmen as well. We're going to get the Empire Knights again to try and push back the Fire Leech Bolas there. And over here, the Royal Altdorf fights are just about finished off. They've only got 5 models now. The Stegadons just do such heavy armor-piercing damage, and the Cold One Spear Riders have also been supporting as well, which has been very cost-effective. But we are going to try and get in and finish off Mazdamundi. You can see Karl Franz here with the hammer out, going to lay a mighty smiting on Lord Mazdamundi, and actually routes him off here with the Templehof Luminarch getting the final snipe, finishing off the big Toad Man. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty good about my odds. You know, this other summon Manticore is just about down. He's not going to be able to get the ridiculous Winds of Magic regeneration to summon more. Most of the Skinks have been finished off at this point. I've still got plenty of Empire Knights as well. A unit here that's going to be relatively healthy, and there's only one real threat left to them as long as I don't, you know, stand on top of the Stegodons. So I'm going to go ahead and charge this last unit of Cold One Riders. My opponent chooses to admit defeat at this point, which, you know, I kind of get. The balance power is still pretty close, so it might have been a little bit premature. But, yeah, my plan here with the Empire Knights was just to clean up all these routing Skinks and then just use all of the infantry and Karl Franz to wear down the two Stegodons. I also had a few shots left on the Tempelhof Luminarch there, so I definitely understand why my opponent conceded. I think that I pretty much had that one wrapped up, despite what the balance power was saying. But, yeah. You can see here from the army breakdown, the Empire Knights being very cost effective, only 23 kills, but still being able to defend the backline, defend the Tempelhof Luminarch against the Fire Leech Bolas there was very key, just to kind of push them around and not let them just, you know, take it down. Likewise, the healing on the Tempelhof Luminarch was very important to keep it online and able to snipe out Mazdamundi with the support, of course, of Karl Franz and the Altar of Griffites, who dedicated most of their time taking down the old Toad Man there. Yeah, Great Swords did relatively well. They kind of got mashed up by, you know, banishment, but, you know, they did decently. Don't really have too many swords to cut through, which is why I bring them, but they do a little bit of armor-piercing damage, so they can support against the big monsters there a little bit. It's not amazing, but let's go ahead and quickly just jump to another game here, because that one was a little bit short. If I can find it. Another quick one, just to kind of talk about the Manticore summons. We're going to jump into one more Empire game, myself versus our good friend Dimmy G, playing the Beastmen. This is MP Alpine Ridge. And I do think that the Manticore summon maybe needs to be a little bit more expensive in terms of Winds of Magic cost, because it's quite easy to get both up at the same time. This build, very quickly, you can see Dimmy G's got a nice vanguard of Blackhorn's Ravagers and Gorherds with shields here. I'm going to drop Boris and that Amber Wizard down immediately. The Pistoliers are shooting the Harpies very cost effectively. We've also got Royal Altar of Griffites here on the flank. Empire Knight's going to start to collapse as well. So this heavy vanguard going to get immediately punished by my mixed, you know, balanced Empire melee army, with some supporting Pistoliers, of course. And we're immediately going to pull up this Manticore summon. Of course, the shock damage from the monsters here and from the Knights will be able to terrify away these Gorherds relatively easily, which was the idea here. And they're actually doing a decent amount of damage to that Amber Wizard, though, and some Centaurs with throwing axes also come in, get a couple of volleys. He all of a sudden takes a ton of damage and is going to have to get back up in the air. Oh, that Amber Spear. That Amber Spear, though, from the Lord of Beast Shaman over there, unfortunately didn't actually make contact on any units, but it could have been potentially devastating if it had cut through. This Feral Manticore going to drop down and actually go after the Centaurs now as the Amber Wizard pulls away there. Butchers of Kalkengard are in the center, which is a bit of a risk. Empire Knights, though, going to take care of these Chaos Warhounds. You can see over here, unfortunately the Brave Shaman got caught out in an ambush by the Royal Altar of Griffites here, who are going to quickly terrify him away and just do a ton of damage. Likewise, Gorbel also suffering a similar fate. The Butchers of Kalkengard are coming over, though, which is definitely a risk. So we're now going to detach the Altar of Griffites here. They do have flaming attacks because of the Banner of Eternal Flame from the Warrior Priest here, so they are able to hard counter the regeneration for the Butchers of Kalkengard there. You can see Pistoliers also opening up from the flank here. They're just going to do a ton of cost-effective damage because of the low armor of these Minotaurs. Such an expensive unit, so little armor. Pistoliers can really get some great value there. Meanwhile, you can see the Manticore has been very cost-effective in just kind of holding things down, terrifying things away. Those Centaurs with throwing axes took a pretty good amount of damage, and likewise, we're going to be using the Pistoliers to kind of three-way crossfire on this unit. Again, very cost-effective. Love Pistoliers in this matchup. Empire Knights chilling in the back. They, I think, maybe got terrified by the Butchers, but yeah, you can see the Amber Wizard going to go ahead and rear charge the Butchers here, just to try and get on the ground to get away from the Harpies. Likewise, Boris also comes over. I don't know if I'm actually going to get the second Manticore summon off. It looks like, yep, here it comes. So you can see that with a lower degeneration rate, which I'm honestly not the biggest, I don't think it's the biggest issue. I do think, though, that all summons should have leadership. If you look at the Skaven, for example, Skaven summons do suffer from leadership penalties. I think they might be the only ones. All of the undead summons, the Manticore summons, the Cygor summons, which we didn't see any here, but we all know that the Beastmen can be ridiculous with the Cygor summons as well. It's just, I think that all of those summons should be subject to leadership, or else none of them should. I mean, we need to have some consistency, and certainly the Skaven, with their terrible leadership, it is pretty punishing, honestly, to have them susceptible to leadership. So either those summons need to be unbreakable to match up with the rest of the game, or I would like it actually better if all summons had leadership values. And, you know, some people would say that might nerf, especially like the Manticore summon, quite a bit. I actually disagree. I think Manticores right now are in a pretty good place. I find that they actually hang around a pretty decent amount of time in terms of their leadership. Like, they don't just immediately rout per se. But yeah, well played to Dimmy G there. A nice quick one just to kind of show off how easy it is to get both Manticores up and at very decent HP at the same time. Really not an issue at all. So I do think that in order to counter that, like I said, I think the lower degeneration rate is fine, but I do think that all summons need to suffer from leadership penalties. They all need to be able to be routed or crumbled, you know, whether they're living or dead. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, though, in terms of this army breakdown here. Same thing, Empire Knight, super cost-effective in the right situation, 66 kills in an XP Chevron, able to chase a lot of routing units there. Dimmy G with the aggressive Vanguard, I admire his moxie, but unfortunately it didn't work out against this heavy terror build from the Empire. The Amber Wizard, pretty cost-effective in this matchup. Of course, Boris brings his own healing to the table, so you don't necessarily need the healing for your army. I guess, you know, Altar of Fights is always good to have healing for, but I figured with this nice wide army, lots of Pistoliers and state troops, it would be better to just try and spread the terror out as much as possible, hence the Manticore summons. Of course, the Warrior Priest supporting the Altar of Fights does mean that they can pretty much take down the biggest and baddest of the Beastmen, which is the Butchers of Kalkengard here. So yeah, very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed those two quick Empire casts. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.